Chosen one, stop scrolling. Because this message isn't random, you were meant to hear this right now. You've been feeling something shifting in your spirit lately, haven't you? You can't explain it, but deep down, you know something big is about to happen. You've been tested, stretched, and overlooked for so long that part of you started to wonder if God forgot about you. But listen closely, He didn't stop. Every delay was divine, every hardship had purpose. And now heaven has one clear message for you. A big check is coming to you soon. Not just money, but everything that was owed to you. The favor, the peace, the opportunities, the recognition, all of it. You're stepping into a season where what you lost will be replaced, and what was delayed will now arrive with interest. This isn't stat hype, this is confirmation. Because when God decides it's your turn, no system, no enemy, and no person can stop what sits written. Stay with me, because in the next few moments, I'm going to reveal the 7 clear signs that your financial breakthrough, your divine payout, is closer than you think. For a long time, it felt like everything you touched fell apart. Every time money came in, something unexpected took it away. You prayed, you worked hard, but it seemed like the heavens were silent. Yet through it all, you didn't curse God. You didn't turn bitter. You kept believing that somehow, in some way, things would turn around. What you didn't realize is that God wasn't punishing you, He was preparing you. He was watching to see if you could remain faithful when it didn't make sense. He wanted to know if your heart was anchored in Him or in what He could give you. You passed that test. You chose faith over frustration, prayer over panic, and praise over pity. That's why heaven is now releasing what was held up. Every delay, every dry season, every test was designed to refine you, not define you. And now, because you stayed faithful in lack, God is about to trust you with overflow. The same place where you once cried will become the place where you rejoice. Your faith has drawn your reward closer than ever. You've been walking through storms that would have broken most people, yet somehow you still have peace. You're not sure how, but deep down you know that everything will be okay. That calm inside you isn't ordinary, it's divine. It's a sign that God is near and that your breakthrough is already in motion. Peace in pressure is proof that heaven is working behind the scenes. Before God releases the blessing, He strengthens your spirit. Before He puts wealth in your hands, He builds endurance in your heart. You're learning how to trust Him, even when you can't trace Him. So if you're at peace right now, even though your situation hasn't changed, understand this: the check is already being written in the spiritual realm. The peace you feel is your receipt that what you prayed for is being processed. It's not your imagination. God has been sending you hints. You keep seeing certain numbers, hearing messages about abundance, or noticing small blessings showing up unexpectedly. These are not coincidences, they're confirmations. Each one is God whispering, "I haven't forgotten you. Your provision is on the way." When you start noticing patterns like this, it's proof that you're aligned with what God is releasing. Heaven communicates through signs before the physical blessing appears, so don't dismiss those moments. They're divine reminders that you're in your season of increase. Everything that was taken, delayed, or denied is about to turn in your favor. The losses you endured were not permanent. They were setups for a comeback. God is flipping the script. The same places that once brought you pain will soon bring you prosperity. He's restoring time, opportunities, and resources that the enemy thought he stole. But here's the truth: nothing was lost. It was being stored, and now it's about to be released all at once. The drought is ending. The harvest is ready. This is your season of divine reversal, where tears turn into testimony and struggle transforms into success. You've probably noticed that lately, the circle around you has been shrinking. People you once depended on don't call anymore. The ones you used to help stop checking on you. You might even feel like you're walking through life alone. At first it hurt. You questioned yourself, wondered what you did wrong, and asked God why everyone suddenly left. But listen closely, chosen one, this isolation is not rejection, it's redirection. God removed the noise because he needed to get your attention. You, Steve, entered a stage in your journey where not everyone can come with you. When God gets ready to elevate a person, he separates them. He takes them out of environments where their potential is limited by familiarity. He pulls them away from voices that keep them small, from habits that drain them, and from people who can't see the anointing on their life. And that's exactly what's been happening to you. The distance you stir feeling right now is divine. The silence you sitting in is sacred. It's not punishment, it's preparation. God saw that your heart was loyal, even when others didn't understand you. He saw how you were pouring into people who never poured back. He watched you show love to those who used you, support those who never clapped for you, and believe in those who secretly doubted you. So he said, "Nuss." He began removing people who were attached to your old season, because your new season requires a higher level of peace, focus, and discernment. If he hadn't separated you, you would have settled. You would have stayed in places that no longer fed your spirit. You would have kept trying to convince people who were never meant to understand you. So instead of asking, why did they leave, start asking, God, what are you teaching me in this? Because every disconnection is a setup for divine connection. Think about it. Every great person in Scripture experienced isolation before elevation. Joseph was thrown into a pit before reaching the palace. Moses was alone in the wilderness before leading a nation. David was tending sheep in silence before defeating Goliath. Even Jesus withdrew from the crowds to pray before performing miracles. Isolation is the classroom of transformation. It's where God strips away distractions so he can reveal who you truly are. You see, when everyone's around you, their opinions can drown out God's voice. But when it sits just you and him, clarity comes. Revelation comes. Purpose begins to rise from the quiet. That's what he sits doing in your life right now. He sits detoxing your environment. He's pulling you out of rooms that limit your light. He's training you to depend on his voice. Not validation, not attention, not approval. Yes, it feels lonely. Yes, it feels confusing. But isolation isn't absence. It's alignment. God has you in this hidden season because he's getting ready to release something through you that requires strength, focus, and purity of heart. If you had everyone around you, you'd be distracted. If you told them your dreams too early, they might have talked you out of them. If you shared your plans, they might have sabotaged them. So God hid you, not to punish you, but to protect you. There's a reason why diamonds form in the dark and eagles soar alone. Elevation requires separation. You can't fly if you're still holding on to those who prefer crawling. This is why certain doors have closed. It's why some friendships faded without explanation. It's why opportunities that once excited you no longer feel right. Because your spirit is evolving, and God is pruning everything that doesn't match your next level. In this quiet season, he's also teaching you something powerful: how to enjoy your own company, how to find peace in stillness, how to recognize his voice in the silence. He's showing you that your worth was never dependent on who stayed or who left. Your identity doesn't come from being surrounded by people. It comes from being grounded in him. So don't rush this season. Don't fight the solitude. Because hidden seasons are holy seasons. When you finally step into your next chapter, you'll understand why you had to walk alone for a while. You'll realize that every unanswered call, every closed door, every silent night was working in your favor. God wasn't ignoring you, He was isolating you so He could elevate you without interference. When the blessing comes, you still see it clearly. If those people had still been around, they would have tried to claim credit. They would have said you made it because of them. But now, when God blesses you, everyone will know this was His doing and His alone. So, chosen one, hold your head high. Don't dest mourn the ones who walked away. Don't question the distance. Your isolation is not the end, it's the bridge to your breakthrough. God is setting the stage for your public elevation. He's preparing the table, and when the time comes, those who doubted you will have no choice but to watch you sit at it. This silence you stare in, it sips sacred ground. Because in the quiet, God is writing your comeback story. He sets turning your loneliness into legacy. He's building the strength you'll need to carry the blessings that are already on their way. You stare not forgotten. You stare being formed. And soon the same God who separated you will elevate you in plain sight. Chosen one of the greatest signs that your big check, your financial breakthrough, and your divine reward are near is that you've learned to speak life even when your situation didn't look alive. You've been declaring blessings when your account was empty. You've been thanking God before the miracle arrived. You've been speaking abundance in the middle of drought. That is not ordinary. That's faith. That's power. That's evidence that your spirit has matured to a level where your words are shaping your world. What you've been doing, maybe without even realizing it, is walking in the authority that God gave you. You've been prophesying over your own life. You've been aligning your mouth with heaven's promises, even when earth gave you reasons to doubt. You see, anyone can praise when everything looks good. Anyone can speak faith when they're holding the miracle in their hands. But true power is when you can open your mouth and declare, "I am blessed," when nothing around you seems to agree. That's the faith that moves mountains. That's the faith that unlocks overflow. There were times when people around you thought you were delusional. They said, "You're still believing for that." They couldn't understand how you could still talk about blessings when you were struggling. But that's because they were speaking from sight, and you were speaking from spirit. You weren't describing what you saw, you were declaring what you believed. You were speaking from the promise, not the problem. And heaven takes notice when a chosen one does that. Every word of faith you've spoken has been stored. Every "I will make it," every "God will provide," every "it's already done" has been recorded in the spiritual realm. And now, those words are returning to you as reality. Because words are seeds. What you plant in faith, you will always harvest in time. The words you've spoken in tears are the same words that will bring your breakthrough in joy. You may not realize it, but your language has changed. You used to talk about lack, but now you talk about lessons. You used to complain, but now you give thanks. You used to speak fear, but now you speak faith. That shift didn't happen overnight. It came through pain, through pressure, through surrender. You had to lose some things to find your voice. You had to walk through darkness to understand how powerful your light really is. God was training your tongue. He was teaching you that you can't speak defeat and expect victory. He was molding your mindset to match your blessing. He was showing you that your words have creative power. The same way He spoke the world into existence, He's called you to speak your world into alignment. That's why the enemy tried so hard to make you negative, hopeless, and fearful, because he knows if he can control your words, he can limit your world. He wanted you to curse your own future with your mouth, but you didn't let him. You learned how to speak life, even in lack. When you said, "I'm still blessed," heaven listened. When you said, "I know God will make a way," angels moved. When you said something good is about to happen, the atmosphere shifted. You may not have seen instant change, but something was happening in the unseen realm. Every declaration, every word of faith, every moment you refused to complain, it was building spiritual momentum. God was waiting to see if your faith could survive the famine. And now that you said proven it can, He sets about to release what sets been promise. Chosen one, there sits a reason why God made you speak life in lack. He wanted to see if you could steward abundance with humility. He wanted to train you to speak as a king or queen before you ever wore the crown. Because your words reveal your worth. If you can talk like a victor while you're still in the valley, imagine how powerful you'll be when you reach the mountain. That's why your breakthrough is so close. You've already passed the hardest test. You've mastered the discipline of the tongue. Now heaven is aligning your circumstances with your confessions. Your external world is catching up to your internal faith. The same mouth that declared, "It is well," is about to testify. It has happened. So keep speaking life, keep declaring abundance, keep calling forth what God has promised, even if it hasn't shown up yet, because your words are building your future right now. Every time you say I'm blessed, you're attracting blessings. Every time you say I'm favored, favor starts moving in your direction. Every time you say my time is coming, heaven says it already is. Your breakthrough isn't just coming, it's responding to the sound of your faith. So don't stop. Don't let frustration silence you. Don't let fear make you negative again. You are too close. You've sown your words in faith, and now the harvest is almost ready. This is your confirmation. God heard every declaration. He saw every time you chose praise over pity. And now the same mouth that spoke in lack will soon speak in abundance. You won't just talk about blessings, you'll live in them. You won't just say it's stets coming, you won't say it's stets here. Because you spoke life when it felt like death, and heaven always rewards that kind of faith. Your words have already built the world you're about to walk into. And very soon your reality will sound exactly like your declarations. Chosen one, lately something inside you feels different. You can't explain it, but deep in your spirit, you know something is changing. You wake up with a strange sense of peace, even though your circumstances haven't shifted yet. You feel lighter, calmer, and more certain, like something is quietly aligning in your favor. That's not your imagination. That's the spiritual shift before the physical manifestation. When God gets ready to move in your life, your spirit senses it before your eyes can see it. The atmosphere around you begins to change. Old thoughts stop fitting. Old habits feel uncomfortable. People who once felt familiar now seem distant. It's because your spirit is moving into a new dimension, and not everyone or everything can come with you. You might notice that you're craving solitude more than ever before. You don't feel the need to explain yourself anymore. You've stopped chasing validation. You no longer fit in the same places you used to, and that's not rejection, it's transformation. When a butterfly is about to emerge, it doesn't announce it, it simply outgrows the cocoon. That's what's happening in you. You're outgrowing your old season. You're not being lazy or detached, you're being redefined. This inner stillness you feel is not emptiness, it's preparation. It's God whispering, "Be still, something new is coming." You may have also noticed small confirmations, a verse that hits differently, a message that feels like it was meant for you, a dream that feels more vivid than usual. These are not coincidences, these are spiritual signals. God is communicating that your breakthrough is not just coming, it's already being released. He's conditioning your spirit to recognize abundance before it arrives. He's teaching you to feel the vibration of victory before it shows up in the physical world. That's why you can feel peace, even in uncertainty, That's why you can smile without knowing how things will work out. It's because your soul already knows what your mind hasn't caught up to yet. God has already done it. Sometimes, before the blessing comes, life may feel strangely quiet. Opportunities may slow down. Communication from people might fade. Things you were once passionate about may suddenly feel meaningless. That's because the spiritual world is rearranging itself to make room for what's about to enter your life. Think of it like this: before sunrise, the world gets still, the air cools, the earth grows silent, and then the first light breaks through. The silence was not the end, it was the setup. That's what this spiritual shift is. The silence before the sound of your breakthrough. And you've probably felt that tension, that mix of calm and anticipation. It's like your spirit is saying, something big is coming, even when your logic says, but nothing's happening. That's because spiritual change always comes before visible change. You don't plant a seed and see fruit the same day. Growth happens underground, where nobody can see it. And that's what God has been doing with you, growing you quietly, preparing you privately, and positioning you perfectly for what's next. The shift you feel is heaven rearranging your steps. It's God moving people, opportunities, and timing into divine order. You can't see it yet, but soon, everything will make sense. The spiritual shift is also God's way of tuning your discernment. You're starting to sense who's for you and who's not, without needing proof. You can walk into a room and feel energy instantly. You can hear someone's words, but your spirit hears their intention. That sits not paranoia, that sits discernment. God is sharpening your sensitivity, because where you're going next, you'll need spiritual awareness more than ever. The higher the calling, the clearer the discernment must be. So don't fight this change. Don't try to cling to what's leaving. Don't question why you feel different. You're not falling apart, you're evolving. When you feel this shift, the best thing you can do is surrender to it. Pray more. Listen more. Move slower. Don't rush the process. Because this season isn't about doing, it's about becoming. You're becoming the person who can handle the blessing you've been praying for. You're being aligned with divine timing. You're being refined so you can carry wealth, influence, and purpose with wisdom and humility. And when the shift completes, when everything that SIP's being built in the spirit finally manifests in the natural, you sort of look back and say, now I understand why God had to take me through that. Chosen one, this is your confirmation. The shift you feel is real. It's not anxiety, it's alignment. It's not coincidence, it's calling. It's not imagination, it's manifestation in motion. Your spirit can sense what your eyes can sit yet see. That sits why your soul feels expectant. That sits why you sit starting to prepare, even without knowing why. It sits because heaven is whispering, get ready. The check is already written, the release is already scheduled. So keep your peace. Stay in faith. Trust that what you feel in your spirit is the echo of what's already been done in heaven. You're not waiting for your blessing is waiting for you to recognize it. The shift you're sensing is the spiritual announcement that your breakthrough is about to show up in your reality. You didn't find this message by accident. This was heaven's way of reminding you that your story isn't over, it's just entering its most powerful chapter. You cried in silence, but God saw every tear. You've been overlooked, but God took notes. You've been faithful with little, and now He's about to trust you with asterisk much. The big check that sits coming isn't set just about money. It's about asterisk restoration. It's God saying, for to, you've passed the test. You kept your heart pure when life wasn't set fair. You kept believing when you had every reason to quit. Now the tables are turning. The same people who doubted you will witness what God is doing in your life. They'll see the glow, the peace, the success, and they won't be able to deny it. Because when God blesses you, He does it publicly. He prepares a table in front of your enemies. He makes sure the world knows this one is chosen. So don't shrink when the blessings start to pour in. Don't question whether you deserve it. You do. This is your harvest season. This is your confirmation that heaven has released your name into rooms, contracts, opportunities, and miracles that your feet haven't even entered yet. And when the breakthrough shows up, when that check hits your life in whatever form it takes, remember this moment. Remember that before it arrived in your hands, it was already written in heaven. So lift your head. Stay in faith. Keep your spirit clean and your heart open. Because what's coming next will make every sleepless night make sense. God is saying, you stir not waiting for the blessing anymore. The blessing is waiting for you to walk into it. Your name is already on it. Your signature blessing is on the way, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop it. You are the chosen one, and your time is now.